I know it probably isn't a Tulo versus LeMahieu thing, but I can't understand how a guy, Tulo, who's first or second in just about every hitting category and still playing stellar defense, doesn't make the team, isn't named to the team. But LeMahieu, who's like third or worse in every hitting category, plays pretty good defense, but still third or worse, gets named to the team.
Let me take the other side of this, though.
Okay.
Where are the Rockies?
Last place. Second worst team in all of baseball.
Yeah, they're tied for fewest, or right out of it, tied for second fewest number of victories in baseball. That's a team that doesn't deserve to have 3 guys on the All-Star list. Every team gets 1. I really thought if you go back to the early days, it would be Dante 1 year, and then it was Galarraga. And then Vinny slipped in there 1 year. Then it was Todd Helton almost every year until Troy came along. And so the Rockies, it's another example of the Rockies just aren't producing great players. And so as a result of that, I mean, there wasn't a pitcher on the Rockies roster that got a sniff. So, I mean, well, I'm just saying that you know, that goes back to what we keep talking about. And I'll try to be kinder and gentler today. But Dick Monfort, if you don't look at these kind of things and see that you're actually you're in a situation where you're not actually drafting and developing great players. But as far as the All-Star game, the Rockies really don't deserve to have 3 people there. They're not any good. I mean, the players are good, but I think when the players vote and when the managers vote, when Bocce looks at it, you go, man, they don't deserve to have as many guys as, say, the Cardinals on the team or the Dodgers or the Giants or whatever. It just really doesn't work. It's a team game. You've got to have the team doing well enough to at least be in consideration. Arenado's going to go into the same thing on the most valuable player. Do you really want to vote for a guy as good as he might be for most valuable player when he plays on such a lousy team? I understand we got Patrick back. We're sorry, Patrick, but we don't get to see you now. We get to listen to you.
Well, that's okay, guys. I don't know what the problem was. Yeah, but anyway, I'm here. I don't know where we left off or if you heard anything that I said, so I guess. Yeah,
we heard it. We heard it all. So it was just very quietly. I just broached the subject of when you are one of the 2 or 3 worst teams in baseball. Why Troy Tulowitzki's not on the team is people are going, this is a terrible, terrible team. None of the pitchers got a sniff and want what. I mean, really, do the Rockies deserve to have 3 guys on an All-Star team?
Well, I don't know what the criteria is there, Woody. Is it the team? Is it a team vote to get in the All-Star game, or is it based on whether it's the player is of All-Star caliber? I would argue the latter. I think Tulo is hurt by the fact that the Rockies have the second worst record in the National League. Arenado, I think you just mentioned the MVP race. No way he's going to win that, no matter what numbers he puts up. But it doesn't bother me if a player is really good. I think he deserves the All-Star team. I mean, you could make the argument that players on other winning teams are there, maybe not so much on their own merit, sometimes because they've got great pitching. So I take a different tack. It does not bother me to see a worthy player on the All-Star team, even if his team is crummy. That doesn't bother me.
Patrick, Troy Tulowitzki is healthy. Troy Tulowitzki is having a very nice year at the plate and in the field. I'm wondering how much being snubbed like this bothers Troy Tulowitzki, your guess, and also how familiar are you with his contract? Is this costing him some money that he's not on the All-Star team as of yet?
Let's start with the first one. I talked to Tulo the other day about, what's it going to be to him if he made it or if he didn't make it, and he was fairly blasé about it, basically saying, if I make it, it's a great honor. I'd love to go, but if I don't, there's other things I can do. I can rest up. I can hang out with my son Taz. But I think it matters to Tulo a great deal. His legacy is very important to him, and I think it's going to bother him that he's not going to make it, considering coming off that surgery, the kind of season he's had. In regard to the second question, the contract, I don't have it in front of me. Tulo, yes, he does have incentives, but in the large scheme of things, considering he makes $20 million a year, it's a pretty minor deal in his contract as to whether he makes the All-Star game or gets in the top five in MVP voting or anything along those lines. Mostly, I think it's a little bit of a shot to Tulo's pride.
Well, and I would add, and you made a great point, I think, Patrick, there, that in regard to his legacy, that when you go up for the Hall of Fame, one of the things they're gonna look at is, well, he played in 4 All-Star games as opposed to 12. If you're in those kind of hefty numbers, you get a lot more consideration because he's already fighting the altitude issue where they create. I saw it yesterday. Well, LeMahieu is on the team, but it's because he's playing at altitude. He's hitting so good, and that's always going to hold over Todd Helton's head. It held over Bichette or Galarraga, who were not really Hall of Famers.
Arenado's splits are actually fantastic. He's hitting very well on the road.
They are.
Yeah.
No, what do you make a good point though? Think about when you look back at the Hall of Famers in the football, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Inevitably, what you see is he was a 5-time All-Pro and he was an 8-time Pro Bowler. The 8-time Pro Bowler may be kind of a misnomer, but it matters and it goes on your resume. And in Tulo's case, you're absolutely right. He's got 2 strikes against him. One, he's playing for an organization that rarely is going to be in the postseason. And 2, he's got the altitude factor working against him. So, yeah, adding another All-Star game to his resume, if he has any designs at all about getting into Cooperstown, you're exactly right. That is going to matter down the line.
Yeah, and isn't that one more reason for him to be bothered, terribly annoyed by his situation here? That people do look at him playing at Coors Field or him playing for a losing team and saying, he doesn't deserve to be on the All-Star team.
I think some fans see that. I don't think his fellow players in baseball see that. I think they realize what a unique talent he is. But, yeah, you're right. Legacy-wise, in the popular sports culture, it's going to hurt Tulo, and that's too bad. I am completely convinced that if Tulo went to another market, be it St. Louis or New York or wherever, maybe he wouldn't hit for quite the average. Maybe he'd hit a few fewer home runs. But I think Tulo would make the adjustments just fine, similar to what Matt Holliday did. I think he'd be as big a star somewhere else as he is in Colorado.
But I suggest to you guys, based on his career at this point, if he does what Les and Todd Helton want him to do and moves to first base, he will not be a Hall of Famer. Because now he's just a first baseman, and first basemen don't get in because of their defense.
Boy, you took a hard right turn on us there.
Well, I'm just saying to you, I don't believe Mark Kislis claims that he's got to go to first base. You say you agreed with him
I've said
at
it for
some
years,
point
yeah.
because you want to keep him healthy. He goes to first base, he's going to be fighting 50 guys to get in the Hall of Fame. At shortstop, he's an elite top 5 type shortstop in this generation. Patrick, agree or disagree?
I agree with Woody. I do not think, for Tulo's injury's sake, I do not think it's playing the position that hurts you. You think about it, yes, the first injury he had in San Francisco way back in 2008 came about when he was playing the field. Subsequent injuries have mostly come when he's been sprinting up the line. I've asked Tulo this before, and he gets very touchy when you ask him about this. But I've said, do you think you can keep playing shortstop given your injury history? And he's told me over and over again that it's not the plays at short. It's not the diving. It's not the jumping that has affected him. It's been the sprinting straight up the line. I'm with Woody. I think you put Tulo at first base, I don't think he's going to hit any better than he is now, and you take him out of a special position. I hope Tulo stays healthy and finishes his career as a shortstop.
Patrick, we have now watched the All-Star game played where the winner makes a difference in the home field advantage. After having watched it a number of years, you one of the best baseball writers in the country, do we get rid of that aspect of the All-Star game, or is it a positive for baseball that this game does have serious meaning?
It's a sham. There is no way this game should matter for home field advantage. I mean, look at last year. I mean, who was it? I think it was Wainwright, the Cardinals, who pretty much admitted he grooved a couple pitches for Derek Jeter. I mean, it's an exhibition game. Yes, there's been some glory in it, but for it to matter as much as it does, I think it's a joke. And to me, it's a typical Bud Selig move, and that is react to something. Don't do the smart thing. Don't do the forward-thinking thing. Just react. And he was reacting because, the extra inning game that got called, and he thought the TV ratings weren't good enough, blah, 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 blah. To me, it's ridiculous to have this game count, and it's particularly ridiculous to have this game count when the fans are picking most of the starters. That's just dumb.
Patrick, are you going to the game next week?
I am not, unfortunately.
Okay.
Corporate decision, I am not going.
Well, then we expect you in studio, all right?
Okay, I'll be there.
Patrick, thanks for your time, and we'll see you at the ballpark tonight.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot.
All right, Patrick Saunders of the Denver Post. That portion of the big stuff brought to you by Grand Prix Motorsports, your source for the original motorcycle. That would be Indian motorcycles, so check out the newest line of Indian cycles at Grand Prix Motorsports on County Line and Santa Fe. And you're looking at Big Fred riding his Indian motorcycle.